I feel like we bonded a little today. But let's hop in. And we always have friends that kind of join towards closer to about 15 after. So here we are. I'm super, super, super excited that we're going to get to learn about this today. Today's presentation came via another PMI chapter, and just love our guest speaker. Rasan is great. He's wonderful. He's engaging. Love him, love his skill set, and love this new tool, and just thought that our chapter would be really, really excited about it. And I'm excited for you all to learn about it. So I'm done rambling now. We're going to get to the star of the show. Here we go.
Thanks, Liz. Thanks. I appreciate it. Thanks for the invitation. And hey, thanks for doing, fantastic job, all these social impact projects. And to be honest, I'm really impressed because I used to work for PMI. I was in the global team as a global program manager. So this is super exciting. Thanks for doing this great job. And yeah, I'll go ahead and share my screen and we can learn about Microsoft Loop. As you can see, mastering project management with Microsoft Loop. Why? I'm a big fan of using technology, especially if you work with remote settings and your team members, all over the world. So what you need, beside your PM skills, you also need to have technical skills using these technologies. To the next slide. Okay. Agenda is going to be all about introduction to Microsoft Loop. This is a new tool in the suite of Microsoft ecosystem. So then we will talk about benefits of Microsoft Loop, and our use case here is very tailored to project management use case. So we will use around how we can do project planning, task management, issue tracking, and a couple of the project execution activities, for example, user training material and so on. And then we will also learn about how we can integrate other applications or services with Loop, which is super easy. And then we will have a hands-on demo that you can follow along, and I will share all the resources, and we will talk about also limitations and best practices. And just a little bit about myself. I'm Rafsan. I'm Microsoft MVP. I'm currently overseeing the large programs, one of the Fortune 500 companies. And my primary role is around basically enterprise architecture, agile project program management, ERP transformation, low-code, no-code, and so on. I'm also doing a technical PM role. Not only I oversee these projects, but some of the time I also develop these solutions using Power Apps. If you don't know Power Apps is a really great tool to build custom applications using low-code, no-code approach. So let's continue. So why Microsoft Loop? Why we need to have a tool that we need to learn even new tool? Because we have so many tools, and sometimes I think it's not even advantage. It doesn't bring any advantage if you learn something completely new, because sometimes there is a huge learning curve. So Microsoft did a survey last year, and turned out that 64% of people say that they struggle with having the time and energy to do their job. And one of the primary reasons is switching applications. So imagine you wake up, you go to the work, or if you work remotely, open your laptop, and now you have to open 6, 7, 8 applications. You have like MS Project, you have Excel, you have Word, you have Power BI reports, everything. So look how much time it consumes from you. So imagine having one tool, you can bring all of them into one tool, so you don't need to have it context switching. So one of the solutions that the main focus of today's session is Microsoft Loop. Microsoft Loop is a collaboration application which brings all the project team members, their processes, their tasks into a single platform where you will be able to do your project planning, brainstorming. So Microsoft rolled out this application last year. You can even use your personal accounts to use Microsoft Loop. And there are some benefits to in terms of project management, the first one is managing projects and tasks. As I mentioned, it gives you a single platform. You can do your project planning. You can keep your all project artifacts into single platform, so you don't need to use multiple applications. You can also do task management as well. It comes with pre-built templates that you can use to assign tasks. And wherever you assign tasks, team members will be notified via email. You can even change that to make it Teams. And as you can see, this will help team members to see all the tasks in one area. And remember, having all the tasks in one platform is very important. Otherwise, some tasks will be neglected. And second one is project team collaboration and brainstorming. So as you can see, the project management doesn't start project execution. It starts with project planning, project initiation, and these phases basically is all about brainstorming and creating certain artifacts. So we can use Microsoft Loop for team brainstorming and collaboration. On the other hand, you can easily take notes using Microsoft Loop. There is also Microsoft Loop component in Teams where you can easily add meeting notes, you can add tasks, and later you can use that as an artifact that you can bring into your workspace where everyone can see what was about the meeting and whether there are any tasks that they need to complete. And key elements of Microsoft Loop, you will see this soon. The first one is Loop components. This is very exciting feature. It's basically portable piece of content that can be table, that can be list. Whatever you share, it syncs the progress. So you will see soon. It's very exciting because let's say if I share Loop with you in Teams, you can update it in Teams. You can update in Outlook. You don't have to necessarily open in Loop application. The second one is Loop pages. This is also very great. Think of a Loop page. This is like flexible canvases. You can add as much as information you want into one Loop page. So I will show you some tricks how you can do that. Otherwise, it will get so lengthy that you have to scroll down. And the third one is Loop workspaces. Think of Loop workspaces like your dedicated central hub for your project. You might have 5 projects, and then in that case, you might have 5 workspaces. And each workspaces, you will have multiple Loop pages that for different processes. For example, project planning, you can have one Loop page, and underneath that, you can have multiple sub-pages. And leveraging Loop in project management, this is what I've been using Loop for. Project planning, project tracking, issue tracking, team retrospective, data gathering, and brainstorming. And sometimes it's so easy because it comes with pre-built templates. All you can do is just select any template and easily populate it with your own data. And integration with other application and services. Loop has great integration, built-in capabilities to integrate with To-Do, Teams, Outlook, even non-Microsoft tools such as Jira, Trello, and so on. So I think it's time for our demo. Let's go ahead and start. So first of all, I want to start with this part. You can use your personal account to practice this. Otherwise, you can use your work school accounts. So to use work account, make sure that you have a proper license. That's a Microsoft 365 Business Standard, Business Premium, or any of these license or plans. And having some of these licenses will give you also ability to create the workspaces, adding team members and removing members from the Loop workspaces. If you use Loop with your personal Microsoft account, that means that you will not use certain features. For example, Copilot for Microsoft 365, it's not available for personal accounts. So let's go ahead and start. So how we can get access to Microsoft Loop? To get access to Microsoft Loop, you can use loop.cloud.microsoft. I'll just copy this and paste into chat. If you want, you can use it to follow along. Right, so first time you sign in, you need to sign in with your personal account or work account, and then this is the view you will see. And as I said, this will bring you to the first Microsoft Workspace, and you can easily create workspace. Click workspace. Let's name our project. For example, we have a project to create a chatbot, and you can also choose icon here, which icon you want. Let's say I'm going to use this because later this will give you ability to easily see which project you have. I use tags a lot, emojis a lot, and I recommend you do the same. And you can easily give access to team members, but the best tip, what I do, I usually set up my workspace. Once everything is done, then I initiate access, grant access to team members. Otherwise, they can confuse. Continue, and here what it does, it goes ahead and search my Microsoft 365 ecosystem to see whether there are relevant files that it can bring to the workspace. So Copilot Studio is Microsoft low-code, no-code tool to build chatbot using AI, Gen AI features. And as you can see, that's why you see here, it pulled I have files called AI Builder Prompting, and that's why it took that information. I can select this and create workspace. So we created our workspace. Now we can go ahead and create our different project phases. For example, I will come here and click new page. Let's say we are in the project initiation phase. I can select project planning template, and this is it. I can collapse this, and from here, if you look at here, it just gives the background cover. I can easily change this, change other, and I can also change the icon. And for project planning, it gave us template, but we can easily customize it. If you look at here, even though we are in the project planning, it gives us the status saying that it's not started. I can come here and select this in progress. And this is more like Excel table. I can easily add new column and call this, for example, typically for array C chart, I also add responsibilities. And I can change this to team member. And you can easily drag and drop it. So that's one of the main benefits. And I will show you later, you can also switch that to board view, and I can extend this. Let's say you have more information you can add, and you have multiple actions here that you can do. We will do it in a bit. And if you scroll bottom, you will see it comes like background context. In project management, we can call this, for example, business case. And under that, I typically add another information, for example, in scope. And you can list what's in scope, adding certain checklist. And you can make this header 2. And beneath that, you can also add another section calling this out of scope. And you can also insert checklist or bulleted list showing that for this phase, for example, we will not implement this. And you can have opportunity statement, assignments, goals, milestones, team check, everything. So one of the benefits here, for example, we can easily add new components here. For example, let's say we can add built-in Kanban board. One of the things that we can do, for example, if I come here, I can also add progress tracker. So progress tracker is already built in, so we can add more rows here and start populating tasks. For example, design Power Apps wireframe. Then this is connected to our Azure Active Directory. I can easily select a team member. And as you can see, this is a new workspace. I didn't give access to my team member. And once I add it, it asks me, I need to notify and share the page with them. And then I can start the status, select the status, and everything is built in. So I can select, for example, date, if there is any blockers. And one of the things we can do here, I can extend this and start adding some automation capabilities. For example, if I select this, there are rules here. So if you use in a Power Automate, this is more like Power Automate like feature. I can select, for example, column, let's say status, when it equals to, for example, completed, then automate and send, let's say, email and continue. And typically in project management, who needs to be informed when tasks completed? They are the project managers, right? So I can add myself in the email thread. And then once I give access, so I can specify which account. I can just type my name, well, pick this, and you can also specify the message. For example, task has been completed. And click create flow. So there is a new flow. For example, whenever I change this to completed, this will trigger an email to my account saying that task is completed. So you did automation with no code capabilities. So you didn't write any code or any, I would say, like complex integration. And here we are. It just provided us with the email that task is completed. And if I click loop page, this will take us directly to that table. So I can also collapse this and make this a loop component. As I mentioned, loop components are portable pieces of the content that it syncs the progress wherever you share them. So now I can create a loop component. And as you can see, this is the component now. I can just simply copy this. And I can come here and I can share it with the team member. And now team member doesn't need to even go to loop application. They can easily come here, for example, add tasks. Let's say create a project charter. And if I come back here, you can see this is added here. So the progress, wherever you update them, it's synced. So you don't have to necessarily come to the loop application. And one of the things that we can do, if let's say this is the one page, now inside that I can even bring planner. I'll just call this planner. I'm assuming some of you guys using Project Planner. So there is a direct integration between Planner and Loop. So if I click /, I can bring Planner here. So you can select your planner. And for example, this is my demo project plan. Click Insert. This will take the planner inside the loop. So what does this mean? You don't have to necessarily go to planner to do this. So if you have a planner, you can start updating the tasks here. For example, if I open planner, this is my demo project. Let's now come back to loop. If I add a new task, for example, can select the team member, due date, add task. I just added a new task. If I come back here, if I refresh, this sync the progress here. So that's what I mentioned earlier, that when you start your work or day, you don't have to open multiple applications. You have one application, all you need just a quick one page, and it will give you all the information you need. And if same thing, if I, for example, select this and bring this here, I reload, it sync the progress here too. So if I select this, and as you can see, I can drag and all the information is here. The same way I can make this, I can copy this page link and share with the team members.
Okay, I'm not using Microsoft now, so I might have lost my train of thought question.
Mm-hmm.
I love that like Loop has kind of become like the hub for all of the things, because Microsoft does have a lot of different applications. But my newbie explained to me, like, I'm two question is there a reason to use Microsoft Project if I can do most of these things in Loop without needing that application?
So why you need to use project, I would say, if you are running complex projects, yeah, go for it. You need to have like proper project management software, such as whether MS Project Desktop or Web or any other project management software. But you typically have one large project, and then you have multiple small projects. And you don't integrate all these small projects into one big project, because sometimes they're not related. So what you do, you build, most of the people, they use Excel, like to track, it's called project tracker track. So instead of that, you can just use Loop. But again, Loop does not replace the need for comprehensive or robust project management software. Think of like tracking is for like lightweight projects and day-to-day tasks. Yep. Because I don't know, I think that's a team level agreement. You don't typically add all the tasks into your project. It doesn't matter if you use Agile, whether you use MS Project, because then if you use MS Project, if you add all the tasks there, then you need to create all these dependencies, finish it. So that's a lot of work, you know. So, but here it's really easy. And one of the things that I showed you here, let me come here. For example, this also has integration with To-Do and Planner here. For example, I can show it to you here. Let me add a new task. For example, this is a task list actually, or I can simply just click add task list. This is different than a table, because it's not that much customizable. This one, I can add a task, for example. And I can assign that to my team member, due date, for example, tomorrow. I can initiate access. And then there is this button here. If you click tasks apps, so this syncs the progress with other apps, and I can open this task in Open Planner. And let me show it to you at down. Same way I can, if I click, you see this brought the component inside the planner. Okay. So there is a strong sync capabilities. But you might use other, let's say, softwares that can be, for example, Jira. You can also bring your Jira issues here. So if I click insert, there is a Jira integration here. I can just proceed. I need to accept the connection request, click filter desk and insert. It just brought the Jira here. So what I can do it from here, I can certainly extend this and then start updating the tasks here. I can add a sign here, I can add due date, and if I want, I can just click this and this will take me to the Jira itself. So as you can see, for tracking, so you can have multiple like softwares and you can have one workspace to check all the tasks here, and you have also status here for your workspace. If you click, typically it gives you the high level information. For example, stats levels, it shows one task completed. We might have multiple tasks. It will show that, okay, this task is completed, this task delayed, and so on. So I really like using this one. Let me close, and I can also create a loop component, make this component. So now let's say my team members, they typically work in Teams or Outlook. I can just simply click this, copy, and come back to chat and paste it here. This is Teams. So for example, now all the Jira issues, it's right here. So now team members, they can see the Jira issues without leaving Teams. So Teams being really hard for team collaboration. And to be honest, I don't like actually leaving Teams during the day. I just trying to do everything within one single application. But you can also bring the workspace. You can copy this. If I come back to Teams, so let's say I have a Teams channel, I can click, I can select a website. If I paste this,
I feel like I've derailed you, but this is fantastic and very interesting. So thank you for answering my question.
Of course. But now, look, you don't even need to go to application itself. It's in your Teams. And all this page, we can have one loop page for project planning, and under it, as I told you, as I mentioned, we can have multiple sub pages. Like think of your SharePoint documentation. Usually you have one folder, there is multiple folders. So, and this is for project planning. So you can have a new page, for example, call this project execution. And let's add here a random icon. So what I can do under this, I can maybe create a new subpage, and I can use another template here. The template can be, for example, during the project, we have retrospective. You can just simply select, use template. So let's say you are done with project planning, you don't need to necessarily come here, and now you work in the project execution, and like retrospective, you can have another sub page for daily stand-ups. I can also bring down here, and I can use another template for team stand-up meeting. So I added everything here. Again, if I come back here, you will see the progress here. Now, stand-up meeting, if you look at this template, what you see, you have all these great templates. Who is a team member, filling, updates, action items, and any relevant links that you might have. So let's actually review the loop components. By the way, is there any question? I'm happy to answer it.
You just answered my question. My question was related to how well does the loop in Teams complement, because we use Teams all the time and we created channels and then we give people access to, but what you just showed, dropping loop into the Teams channel, that was like, that's what I was looking for. So
Oh,
that was,
excellent,
you answered
excellent.
my question without me
Yeah.
asking the question.
But I actually brought loop component from loop application. If you go to Teams, let's go to chat. So you probably see this icon here. That there is icon here.
Yes.
So if you click that, that's actually loop components. That's actually, you can use it within there. For example, you can create Q&A. You can have questions. For example, what's the deadline for project A? And to answer it, for example, I can just paste this, and our team member, Megan, just simply can copy this, and let's add to another team member, copy this, so paste. For example, we can say July 25th. It synced all the progress. So again, like depends on your unique needs. You can have paragraph. For example, I do a lot of project communication for executive, for enterprise. So instead of having Word file and just sending email to people, what I do, I come here, paragraph, and I start adding the information here. For example, let's actually ask Copilot. So project communication is very important. So every time I create something, I need to make sure that our communication specialist, reviews it. Then there are a couple of people reviews, they provide feedback, and then when it's approved, we can communicate it, because a lot of time I communicate with the executive people. So I don't have to create any Word document. I can just simply come here, paste it here, and I can simply click tag and says, Alex, please review this and provide feedback. Can I give access to Alex, grant access? So that's it. Now, if I open this in Loop, Alex can go ahead and start reviewing this. And if they have any feedback, for example, they can click this and they can start adding anything they want. But typically, should be a comment section here that I don't see. Let me come back here. So there's, for example, comment here. You can also, for example, Alex can say, good, and it keeps all the information here. Then everyone can just type here. It's like a thread that you, without changing any order, you add it here. Everyone just can click and get the recent information. But you can also bring other tools here too. For example, you might use Trello. You can also bring Trello here. So Trello can use Agile board template import. Okay, so all your cards, the board cards, it's right here. You can simply just select, drag and drop here. So this is within Microsoft Loop application and Teams, but you can also use Loop inside Outlook. So you can bring everything here like we did for Teams, but you have also Loop component here. Click New, and here you will have these Loop components. Just click, and you can add any template component that you want. For example, voting table, that can be bullet list, and so on. And team retrospective, for example, if you use that, and this gives you a nice component. And from here, whether you can send an email, and everyone can edit, update without leaving Outlook. And simply they can click and they can copy, and whatever they want, they can paste it. So if I edit this here, this will be edited automatically in Outlook. So I think one of the key benefits here is synchronization capabilities. Same way, you can use Loop in OneNote too. Just click Insert, and you can start adding components here too, for example, table, and you can start customizing it however you want. One of the great benefits of having tables, we can later you can also export them to Excel. So you can have, let's say, template, you use project tracking, and then you can, if you don't want to give access to other people, you can easily export it to Excel template. There are really great benefits, and one of them I just found last week is creating workflows. Flowcharts, for example, it's called Mermaid, and I can come here simply, let me bring this horizontal split, and I can say, for example, so if your organization uses Copilot for Microsoft 365, you will have Copilot here. You can use natural language, and Copilot will create tables for you. It will do flowcharts. So thanks, Andre. So for example, I can just copy this, and if I paste, and you can see it just created the flowchart. And I use this a lot in project management. For example, you have a change management process, how people can request to add new attributes to IT data lake. So it should be a process, and you can have this kind of flowcharts explaining employees how they can request the process, and how the request change, and how the change process look like. So any questions?
When you showed the example of where you put that into the email, and if I was to send that out to individuals, and let's say we're updating the tracker here.
Yes.
And let's say someone that we send it to, they open that email maybe a week later. When they open it, they're going to see the most current information, correct?
Exactly, okay. Exactly. So this is not like a file that you need to update it manually. No, wherever you make the update, it syncs the progress. So I made the update here. It updated everywhere for you, because you might be looking at this component in Outlook. Someone might looking at this in Teams or OneNote, and so on. So regardless of whether they make the updates, you will see the most updated information. So any questions? And I actually need to show you this too as well. So you can also use loop components in Whiteboard. So just click new Whiteboard and you can choose any template, use this template, insert. And here, let's say you can click more options and add loop component. Let's say you had a brainstorming and now you need to assign tasks. So you can add loop component here. Make this a little bigger. Sorry. Can make this smaller. For example, organize the card, sticky notes. I will assign this to Alex. Need to give access to Alex first again. So access very important to ensure that you give only access to people that they need. Can extend this and due date. This can be, for example, next week. So I can copy this and bring it here. Delete this. And from here, for example, we are in the whiteboard. I can just select this, copy, and I can extend this and paste it here. So now you pasted entire your sticky notes or template inside the loop. So if I come back here, now as you can see, it's right here. Now, same way you can make this a component. It's already a component. You can copy this and share with everyone. And everyone can see the recent updates. They can make the updates, etc. Let me do this and maybe. So if I come here, just paste it here. The same thing. If I send this to anyone, they will have this. And anyway they make the updates, this will be synced. So any questions? I think this is the end for me. I'm happy to answer if you have any questions.
That was really cool. I have a question, more of a compliment, and now I have a idea about going back to work tomorrow and using Loop as I create this other project I'm working on. I'm gonna see do we have access? Do I that I can use Loop and then go from there. If not, I'll play with it on my own personal computer.
Yeah, absolutely. And if everyone with Microsoft account, work account, they should have access. If you don't have access, in that case, just contact your IT admin. They will enable it. But let me show it to you. Tomorrow, if you go to your Microsoft 365 homepage, just click App Launcher, click All Apps. And if you don't see it within here, you can click All Apps. And you will scroll down, and for example, you will see Loop here. Again, if you don't see it here, I would recommend just contact your IT admins. But it's rolled out, I think, beginning of this year. People with work or school account, Microsoft account, they can use Loop.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
No, I just learned a lot. Like, my brain is like all wiring. Like, oh, if I would now I want to go see if I have a Microsoft account. I'm sure I do somewhere. One of the bazillion jobs I have. But yeah, that was there's so much you can play with.
Exactly.
Right?
So we just played around. Let's say we have one project. Now, suppose you have multiple projects. You can come back to Loop and sync all of these single workspaces dedicated for your projects. So you can have multiple projects and you can have multiple workspaces. If I click here, and I can easily navigate. For example, if you click here, you can easily go to other workspaces which designed for different projects, and you can easily create new workspace and so on. So coming back to our presentation, so one of the let's now talk about the limitations. It's really great that it integrates with most of the Microsoft 365 applications like Excel, Word, but I hope they will add more capabilities such as integration with Miro. I use Miro more than Whiteboard, so that will certainly, I would say, make the process seamless. Another one is you can use a lot for project management purposes, but as I mentioned earlier, this will not replace the need for having robust project management software. Because when it comes to having those dependencies, creating Gantt charts, creating critical paths, unfortunately, you can do that within Loop. At least for now, I don't know in the future whether they can do it or not. And I put also some resources here. All the documentation we have, just click it, and you can learn more about Loop. And the link here, and there is also another link here, guided simulation. It will basically take you to using Loop in more professional setting. Awesome. I'll stop sharing my screen. Again, if you have any questions, we have time. Feel free to ask.
I have no questions as well, but great job. I am so excited to actually test this out in my job, my current job, because that's something that's helpful, especially as you begin the project and you don't necessarily have a project plan. There's certain things that you can, if you can utilize Loop, at least you can kind of get certain things started before you actually get the plan rolled out.
Exactly.
So I love this feature.
Exactly. And data gathering is very time consuming. Having those Loop components that syncs the progress, that you don't need to create multiple documentation. You have one Loop page inside one Loop component. You share with everyone, and they add the information you need. And you can easily send that to someone with just view exit. They can't change anything. They can just view and they can say it looks great. So again, I've been heavily using this all days. Today, I probably use like 5 hours because otherwise, like meetings, it's just waste of time. So you need to use Teams more efficiently, and that's basically, if you use technology, it will make it more efficient.
All right. Well, since there are no more questions, I'm going to do our roundup, which my favorite part is to do this. Thank you. This is my favorite part.
Thank you.
Normally, Amy comes in and sounds more professional, but I'm gonna say thank you. That was again, my brain is like all the wires are crossing. It needs to like melt and like settle. But there is so much goodness there, and that's probably one of the most technical and kind of like in the nitty-gritty of how things work. So thank you so much for coming. It was really, 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 really great. Very insightful.